Okay, we're ready to start scope management, but I have to report to you that the camera crew may be a little surly this morning. It's early. They were up late last night in Vail, dancing, drinking, God knows what they were doing. Well, I was back in the hotel studying the Pmp. So anyway, they may be a little surly today. We're going to talk about scope management, and scope management is very central because a lot of the rest of our planning, which starts when the charter is issued, has to wait on the scope statement or on the WBS. And the combination of those two things, the scope statement and the work breakdown structure, plus the WBS dictionary, those three things are called the scope baseline, and it's what this knowledge area produces step by step. So we're going to start on scope management, understanding that quality, cost, time, procurement, and risk all have to wait for the outputs from this process. That's why I say scope management is very central. There are a lot of exam questions about that. Is what processes have to wait for the scope statement, or what can I start once the scope statement is issued? Anyway, scope management starts with the charter being released and approved, and that takes us into project planning, that process group, and then we do the scope processes, and when we issue the scope baseline, then a whole lot of other stuff can start. Now, the first thing we do in scope management doesn't have a process. It's the scope management plan. How much scope management we're going to do, how big is the work breakdown structure going to be, and who's going to participate in putting it together. Just like all the other processes, we're going to have a scope management plan, even though there is no separate process for generating it. That's what starts first, and then we go into our requirements gathering. All right, our first scope process, and again, what we're going to do is determined by what we put into the scope management plan, is to gather requirements. Now, this is not the sort of requirements gathering process you may be used to. We're not going around asking everybody to submit their wish lists. We're going around to our stakeholders, and we know who they are because that identify the stakeholder process started during initiation. And that's one of the key inputs to gathering requirements, is who the stakeholders are. The other one is, of course, the charter, which tells us what business outcome, what the success criteria for the project are. And those two are used in gathering requirements. The requirements we want to gather are the deliverables, the specific, measurable deliverables that are necessary to deliver the business objective of the project. And